All right, let's jump right into this explainer and honestly completely shatter everything you thought you knew about history. Today, we're diving deep into the really profound ideas laid out in Chapter 4 of Ariel M. Sismi's book, Majesty and Monotony. Now, if your memories of history class just involve memorizing a bunch of random dates and the names of long-dead kings, I need you to just completely clear your mind. We are going to look at history through a much, much wider cosmic lens today. The author proposes this incredible thesis that totally redefines what it means to study the past, arguing that literally everything in existence is bound together in one continuous, spectacular narrative.
So, a great place to start is with a really mind-bending astronomical reality. When you look up at the night sky, what time is it? You might instinctively check your watch, but in the grandest sense possible, you are physically looking into the past. Because light takes actual time to travel through the vastness of space, we never see the universe exactly as it is right this very second. We only see it as it was when that light first began its journey. And this scientific fact? It acts as our ultimate anchor for reimagining history. History isn't just something trapped in dusty old books, it's a physical reality that literally surrounds us all the time.
To put that into perspective, this brilliantly illustrates that everything we observe is actually history unfolding right before our eyes, stretching all the way back to the dawn of time itself. Think about it like this. When you look up at the moon, you're seeing it as it was 1.3 seconds ago. When you feel the warmth of the sun on your face, that's the sun as it was 8 minutes ago. And when we peer through our most powerful telescopes at primordial galaxies near the edge of the visible universe, we are literally watching events that took place almost 13 billion years ago. There's no getting around it. Every single time you look at anything, you are seeing the past.
Now compare this massive, awe-inspiring reality with the fractured view of history we're so often taught in schools. Textbooks usually hand us disjointed dates, a list of major wars, and elite rulers, mostly because, well, those details are concrete and super easy to test on a standardized exam, right? But true history is an unbroken continuum. It is filled to the brim with everyday people living their lives day by day in the quiet interim periods between those major flashy events. It's driven not just by kings and queens, but by the common folk, by our natural environments, and by an incredible shared lineage.
And this brings us to a huge realization from the chapter. History isn't strictly human. Chapter 4 makes it so clear that you absolutely cannot study history in a vacuum. To truly grasp our past, you have to look at the histories of everything. Think about it. Math allowed us to encode the universe. The dawn of agriculture fundamentally shifted our relationship with the earth, which is what allowed us to settle down and build cities. The relentless pursuit of science allowed us to survive and thrive against seemingly impossible odds. It is all one consistent giant tapestry. And humans, we are just one thread woven into it. There's this fantastic point the author makes, drawing on a quote from science communicator Hank Green. The truth resists simplicity. I absolutely love that. This perfectly captures the thesis that human events are incredibly complex, and history is made by a conglomerate of literally everybody, not just generals on a battlefield. When we try to boil down massive historical shifts to a single monarch's decision, we lose the truth. Many historical texts were written by the elites, sometimes even royalty, who were vastly out of touch with the very people they ruled over. But the actual, real progression of our world involves millions of unseen variables, proving over and over again that a simple, single-cause explanation for any historical event is almost always inadequate.
So if we aren't just focusing on royalty, we have to recognize that nature, geography, and everyday people are the true forces dictating this historical continuum. Consider how textbooks rarely, if ever, mention how an El Niño climate shift might have completely decimated crop yields, which ultimately determined whether an entire kingdom survived a harsh winter. Or think about how the incredibly slow movement of tectonic plates over millions of years shifted our continents, directly altering the course of mammalian evolution to eventually produce humans. The Earth itself and the common folk who worked its soil are the true massive drivers of the human story. And when you trace our shared ancestry back through time, it reveals this beautiful, almost poetic philosophical lens. You, me, and every historical figure you've ever read about are literally connected by the exact same stardust. We have common ancestry as Homo sapiens, which shares an ancestry with all mammalian life, which ties back to all living things on this planet. And fundamentally, at our core, we are all comprised of molecules made of atoms that were forged in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. So whether you're mapping out your own genealogy or studying a long-lost ancient culture, you are studying a shared, literal, physical history.
Okay, zooming back in on humans for a second.
If elites don't solely drive history, what actually does? Well, we can view pretty much all human behavior through two primary lenses of survival and intellect: resources and information. Basically, food and knowledge. Every major historical event, from the rise of sweeping empires to the darkest, most devastating wars, can essentially be charted by looking at the availability of those two things. Because at the end of the day, whether you are a prince living in a castle or a pauper on the street, you need to eat, you need to sleep, and you need to be safe. We are all biological creatures, and this drives home a really tough reality. While we might tell ourselves grand, sweeping stories about fighting for differing ideologies or complex politics, people are rarely driven to risk their actual lives purely over opinions. Just like lions and tigers out in the wild, human beings historically enter into deadly conflict when resources become scarce. Understanding this core biological drive completely demystifies centuries of human warfare. It really is that foundational. But it's absolutely crucial to remember that our historical tapestry isn't passive. We aren't just letting things happen to us. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminds us in the powerful quote that opens Chapter 4, the progress we enjoy today wasn't magic. It didn't just appear, it was built. Day by grueling day, by ordinary people who pushed back against the darkness. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The resources we have today and the information we share so freely right now are the direct result of the tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals who came before us. And here is the best part. You are fully equipped to continue that exact progress. You have the power of knowing what's going on. Just like computing pioneer Ada Lovelace realized way back when, your mind is actively participating in an interconnected history that will far, far outlast you. Lovelace famously understood that her brain was something more than merely mortal. You are walking around right now possessing the most complex object in the known universe, your brain, and you get to use it to understand the billions of years of history that led to your exact existence today. So here is the ultimate takeaway from all of this. You are performing today, right now, in a cosmic tapestry, and understanding this past empowers you to build a much better future. When you realize that history is just one continuous stream of time, and that studying it means studying the history of science, the stars, the earth, and everyday people, you really start to realize your place in it. You aren't just an observer on the sidelines. You are literally the universe looking back at itself. Every single footstep you take is an addition to this cosmic story. History is happening right now, and you are making it. Seriously, if this blew your mind even a little bit, make sure to grab a copy of Majesty and Monotony through the link to explore these concepts more deeply. Or simply continue to the next explainer in our series. We've only just scratched the surface of how interconnected our reality truly is, and if you found this breakdown fascinating, you will absolutely love the book. So take a second today to think about your place in this massive historical tapestry. What echoes will your footsteps leave behind? Click on over to the next explainer and let's keep learning together.